Oh, you'll never believe this. Penis.
Are you just trying to get the intros for these episodes now? Hello, Jimjamatic here. Welcome to another episode of The Robots That Never Were, episode 6. You might wonder where I was in April. Busy and was not up for making videos at times, but I'm back now, don't worry. As I said on Twitter, I'm back. And also, like I said on Twitter, joining me today is the Dominus Ignis.
Hello.
He's here once again to, I think it's like the third episode you've done of this now, I think, out of 5.
What can I say? I love talking about these robots.
I mean, you're just ticking off. It's like a podcast bingo for you.
I'm gonna be on. I'm like the Nick Fury. I'm gonna appear in every podcast, and then you're all gonna have a big podcast get together that'll attract billions of dollars.
Lots of advertising dollars, definitely. And also joining for the first time on this series, and also the first time it's ever recorded with Sean, somehow, it is Sam Elliott 64.
Oh, hi. How are we?
We're doing alright. It's been a while since you've been on my show, actually.
I said this before we started recording, but the prophecies foretold of this day. Now we're finally united.
Yeah, it's like we've had the Civil War, the podcast Civil War. Now it's like we've joined together to defeat whatever Thanos is in the podcast universe. Apparently,
I don't know who Thanos. I don't know.
I'm not really good with Marvel films, so yeah, just we'll move on. We'll move swiftly.
I hate to pause the Marvel podcast here, but we have to talk about robots that don't even appear on the series, which is the most fascinating subject ever. But it actually is. As again, this was suggested by Anthony. I've said this many times now, but it'll still always be true. And we're just talking about robots that either just didn't make it in, didn't even get to the qualifiers, just didn't make it, or have appeared at some point in other forms. And there actually are a couple of robots that Sam's picked who you have seen in other forms, but not in this form. Yep. Interesting.
Yep, correct.
And speaking of one, actually, we'll start off with the first of Sam's picks. It is do you want to say it?
Yeah, it's Dantomkia 1.0.
Yes, the Series 4 version.
Oh my god!
Which is basically
I just found it.
It's basically Dantomkia without the flipper.
It's a lot more boxy.
Oh yeah, the back of it.
Boxy. Like you look at Dantomkia, as it appears in the TV show, it's quite. Oh, my cat's just jumped off the windowsill. It's quite sleek, and it's quite got a lot of angles. It looks really nice, and it looks scary. This thing, it looks like a box with some like wedges at the front, which obviously effective. But as we find out later, if you read through the article on the wiki, they actually won their qualifier, but they weren't allowed in Series 4 because it was quote. Michael Lambert quoted saying, "It was so boring, I nearly went to sleep."
And that is one of the creators of it as well, which is
people. There's people out there. Obviously, Dantomkia was famed for its out of the arenas in later series. And, obviously we know Anderson's not the biggest fan of Dantomkia because it won fights in very similar ways each time. It was effective, but not necessarily the most entertaining of ways of doing things. Whereas I wonder how I would have thought of this robot, but you can see the genetic lineage of Dantomkia here, can't you? Definitely, it's very similar to the later versions, but it's like you can see where the idea came from. This
is pretty much like the first form of it, and then it evolves later with a weapon, and it's less boxy, and it's kind of a lot more sleek.
It looks like how I build every robot in Robot Arena 2. I start off with a box and then I just add stuff on top of it.
It's like the first robot you would make, and then you go, shit, I've got to put a weapon on this thing, and then chuck a flipper on it.
And then you put the flipper on. Yay!
Yeah. I mean, it's actually one of the few robots I've ever talked about on this series where I actually won its qualifier, but still didn't get in. I mean, some robots just can't win, can they?
But back to it, obviously, it's interesting how he worked around this with future Dantomkia models. Because obviously, you look at Dantomkia here; it doesn't it looks similar, but you can see obviously it's missing the flipper, it's missing it's slightly more boxy in its design. I do like how he went away and he said, all right, I took the 3 best robots of the time, Bigger Brother, Firestorm, and he felt Dantomkia was obviously strong as well, and combined them all into one. And obviously, that's what we came up with, big wedge with a flipper and the strength of the original machine.
Yeah.
You can kind of see that as well,
It's funny, actually. So the robot they actually fought in the qualifier was Anarachophobia, which, oddly enough, actually was kind of similar in shape to the later
Yeah.
And maybe they like maybe that's where we got some of the design from.
Because that was a thing back then, right?
The last rights. Oh,
imagine taking that thing in with last right, just blow it up. You just fired at the arena wall so hard it was smashed straight through it.
So we've confirmed that Dantomkia is superior to last rights. We have worked this out now.
I just want to say that if we compared the original Dantomkia to what Dantomkia would quickly become, it's like that bloody meme of "Be careful who you call ugly in school."
yeah, they got that glow up real quick there, didn't they, Dantomkia?
God damn! I mean, it looks so much better as a flipper. Like, I like Dantomkia, but I can't lie. If Dantomkia had debuted as it looks in the first, in its first iteration, I can't imagine I'd be as enamoured with it.
It's a good looking machine, isn't it? Let's face it. Imagine they turning up like that. Although with that said, if they turned up like that originally, then they turn up like Series 6 later, and you kind of think, oh damn, that thing's been in the gym. You know what I mean?
It comes in with its first person flipping out a twice champion. Fuck you! I'm here to stay now. That's basically what it just did in Series 6.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it's just weird seeing. It's just odd because it looks very similar to the. It's not like some robots where you see their original entry and you just go, God, I'm glad they improved on it. But this one, it isn't that bad. It's just, again, maybe just in terms of entertainment value, the producers just thought, well, this is not as good as we can get. We can have better robots like Iron Ore. That thing's better. Put that in there.
Oh God, Mazakari, mate. Top tier machines here.
Justice for Mazakari.
Mazakari should have gone through that.
Well,
but I know. Bolt from the blue, top tier machine.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Should have beaten my Firestorm and that hands down. But yeah, I mean, if there's anything else we have to talk about Dantomkia, the flipperless Dantomkia.
I do want to just say I'm glad we managed to get through that entire segment without making a mispronunciation joke. We managed to avoid the low tier shit.
Oh, the Dan.
Yeah, come on now.
Yeah,
we're connoisseurs around here. We don't bring up the Dantomakaia.
Dantomakaia. I might just do that as its intro when we get to Series 6.
It's a nice machine, and as much as obviously it was famed later on for its big flipper and the way that it was able to just control their opponents and win fights the way they did. It's interesting to see where the concept came from originally. It's the same but different.
Yeah. And then for the next robot, which I'll have Sean introduce, is a more modern robot who failed to qualify for Series 8, which is
Bullfrog.
I was looking forward to this thing finally appearing because it was one of those ones I think when I first. This is one of the robots that actually inspired this entire series partially. Because when we were talking with Anthony, I was like, "This is one of those robots I'd love to talk about. It's Bullfrog." I don't know. I just like that. It's not like your just standard wedge flipper, which I like off the bat. I don't know.
I know that Jevon World Woodrow has actually got Bullfrog now. If you check his Facebook page, that's he owns Bullfrog now, or at least I think he does.
Oh yeah.
I've seen him post pictures of it and intended plans to work on it.
Actually, the weird thing is we haven't seen Bullfrog in the main series. We actually in the Dutch series they appear twice. Team RCC with RCC, which is like Killertron went to the 70s. And then it just got tie-dyed, and that's what it turned into. And it wasn't very successful in any way. I think it literally just got hit by pulverizer and died. And then they had Black Devil Warzone in the second Dutch series, which it beat one robot at least, which was a really bad walker. So I guess it's an achievement, but I don't know. And then Bullfrog's here, which I'm very sad they didn't make it in, because I actually kind of like the design of it. Personally.
Yeah, it's a really cool design, and can I just say, It is basically to me it's unusable in the Robot Wars mod for Robot Arena 2 because anytime a robot goes up the wedge, immediately lands on the wheels and I can't drive it anywhere.
Oh, I have the same problem.
The flipper to get them off.
But I can't push them out of the arena.
Yeah, you can. You flip them over and then you drive them out of the arena.
Oh, definitely. Oh. I mean, if there was any robot that deserved to have a Team Toad sticker on it,
this was it.
Oh my god!
I really think this robot needs. It was a shame it was not in the later series when they were just giving them out like sweets in Series 10.
In fairness, Oscar Fuzzy was there.
Yeah, it's a shame really because he wasn't there. Because I would love to have seen this thing everywhere. But yeah, this is how come you chose this one, Sean? In any interest?
I just kind of similar to you. I just kind of like the design and wanted to have to talk about it for a bit because I quite like some of the UK scene flippers that got created when flippers basically dominated.
Became the meta basically over here.
Yeah, because while there are so many that there are a few forgettable ones here and there, I do think that there was quite a few that got made that were really quite good. Obviously, like the Iron Ore robots, for example, Matt nearly spoiled one of the robots. But I think Bullfrog is one of them that I quite like the look of.
Yeah, and I feel it originally competed as Bullfrog breed. That's what it was originally built as. It was called that, and there's a picture of it, and it actually kind of has a very similar shape to Eric almost, but it's a bit more boxy at the back.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. Yeah. Bullfrog breed. I mean, first of all, what a great name.
That is a brilliant name. It's funny. It's funny because when you type in bull into the wiki, you only get Bullfrog and bulldog breed, and then it's literally called Bullfrog breed at one point, and this is getting it's different levels of combinations here.
That shocks me on a different level. That in all the time Robot Wars was around, no one thought to name their robot Bull.
I know there's Terrible, but that's the only other bull I can think of that's actually ever been in the series.
Yeah, this is true.
But it's just a cool. I know I like this robot. It's a shame they never made it in because I don't know. I mean, I would like to have seen them.
As you rightly say, it is a Brit flipper or a European flipper because it's obviously owned by a Dutch and Belgian team. But with that said, it's not your conventional, pyramid-shaped wedge. It's a flat invertible flipper. It's kind of in the same vein of Raging Nightmare, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where it can drive upside down, and it still has if the flipper runs out of gas, it's not going to die. It's probably not going to win, but it's not going to die. You still have to beat it, and I think it's different enough to everything else to offer something. It would have offered something to the series. I mean, no disrespect to the Thermidor team. I'd have rather seen this in than Thermidor too.
Yeah, Thermidor was a bit depressing, admittedly. As much as I love Thermidor,
Thermidor 2 is it's a beautiful art bot. These days, it's an art bot. Back in the day, it was competitive, but they literally just whacked in some lipos and said, "All right, let's just chuck it in there. Let's go."
I think it was just put in there for the nostalgia factor. I think for the first series.
Well, I mean, Chompalot was similar. It wasn't massively improved from the original series. I don't think. Don't quote me on that. I'm not entirely sure. But Chompalot fought Thermidor 2 in Series 6, and this time they fought Thermidor in Series 8. They fought Thermidor 2, and they just smashed them against Shunt, and that was it. Job done.
Oh man.
Whereas Bullfrog, I think if Bullfrog was in there, it's made out of hard ox. It's a lot made out of polycarb like the Thermidor was. I'd have rather seen that in there. But it does have the nostalgia factor going for it. I do agree. So maybe that's why.
Yeah, and on an earlier point you said, that's another reason why I really like the design. I like it when, as much as I do like the typical wedge flipper, I do like seeing people take what is a very simple design and concept and seeing all the different ways people can create it. So that's another reason I kind of like the design.
Yeah, and also one thing before we move on to the next robot is the Team RCC. Obviously, they had RCC itself and Black Devil Warzone. They bought Splinter as well. And they also failed to qualify with RCC2 and Splinter in Series 7. So they've actually got 3 robots that failed to qualify for 2 series. That's a kick.
Really unlucky.
And actually consecutive series as well, so it's actually between 2 series it's 3 robots, so... I mean, the original Splinter, in fairness, did just look like a slightly more updated version of the original, but... it just looked like a slightly boxier version, which is saying a lot, because Splinter's just a giant box as it is. But... yeah, it's just one of those things, one thing I wanted to point out, because it's just a random fact that links Bullfrog and Splinter. Somehow. The more you know.
There you go. There you go.
I guess that's anything else we want to say about Bullfrog, or should we move on to the next one?
I'd say let's move on to the next one, really.
Okay. We'll move on to my first choice, and this is a robot that, actually, if you've seen Techno games, they appeared quite prominently in the first couple of series, and also you would have seen some of their other robots in other series. It is Tecumseh. Now this is Team Power, who made Barry and Sonic, and I've also talked about one of the robots previously, Blur, the sit and spin robot that failed to qualify for Series 4, and this also, they withdrew from Series 4 actually, they didn't fail to qualify particularly with this one, but I just love how big this thing is as a walk. I mean,
it looks gargantuan.
It is massive. I'm trying to get, there's no stats unfortunately on its dimensions. It was relatively average for a walker around that time, but in terms of weight, but like I imagine, like, compared to Millennium Bug, which already was like a massive walker, it just looks like the saw on it is amazing. Like, it's just
like this is like a Robot Arena 2 robot personified. It's a big giant frame with a saw sticking like attached to the front, like literally just an angle grinder attached to the front.
Yeah, it's just a perm motor.
That just looks like an engine in the middle or something. I don't know what's going on, but the thing looks like archaic and looks mean and scary. I love the way it looks. It's very.
I just realised what it looks like. It looks like a heavyweight Pretty Hate machine from BattleBots.
Oh my god. The conspiracy.
I feel like I've connected all the pieces together.
Connect all the pieces and you've seen the truth.
My third eye has been opened.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I love about it is that it's just, again, the size of it. It's also petrol power, which is a terrible method for competitive robot wars, usually. More often than not, petrol is never usually a recommended form of power. But I guess these kind of big robots usually needed it back in the day. And oh, the dog is barking. Oh no! Yeah. But as I said, yeah, this robot actually also appeared in Techno games, and they won gold in Series 1 and actually came silver because they had to split up into petrol and regular sprint, and they actually lost to Ulysses, which was the Dietor team's entry in Series 2.
I'm actually watching that video right now, and to be honest, like, for a walker robot, like in classic Robot Wars, it walks a fair bit faster than the ones they actually let on TV.
Yeah.
Although in fairness, you say that like in Series 4, I think there was just Claude Hopper
and Millennium Bug. That was it.
That was it.
Yeah, there were only 2
and
walkers.
Millennium Bug wasn't slow. It was like for a walker, it was actually fairly brisk, and Claude Hopper was fairly brisk. It was decent enough for a walker at the time.
I mean, fairness to both of them. I mean, as I said before, Claude Hopper's a relatively stable, one of the probably most stable walkers at the time. Like, it wasn't,
yep.
And also both Tecumseh, Claude Hopper, and Millennium Bug have all at least won a medal in Techno games at some point. So they're not bad. You know, they actually do have a lot of ingenuity to them. I mean, it takes a lot of ingenuity to make a walker anyway, really. Especially at this time period, where it wasn't when shufflers weren't as prominent.
The technology was very primitive, especially over in this country. At this point, they'd only been building combat robots for 4 years.
Yeah, I will say that
I think 2000, by 2000, the US have been doing it for at least 6.
Yeah, they were definitely way before us.
6. So they had a bit more time and knowledge behind it.
Yeah,
it looks decent though.
One thing I will say though, I mean, this is more of its Techno games appearance really, because obviously we've actually got something to talk about with those particular entries. But the second model they had for the 2001 series, where they lost to Ulysses, in the first round they had these weird springy legs, and it's the picture of it on the wiki, and I just don't get, because after the first round they reverted back to kind of the solid legs that they had for every other appearance. But then, I remember watching that when I first watched it, I was like, why would you have springs on the legs? Because it seems to just have problems walking all the time.
Just for the lols, I guess.
I guess so. I mean, I think their opponent moved 1 mile an hour anyway, so I think they had no competition in their first round, like pretty much most robots in the sprint in Techno games.
Yeah,
it's like one robot that does okay, one really well, one that does okay, and the other like 3 or 4 just kind of like sit there and spot for like 5 minutes, or just walk into the wall and break down, which is pretty much most of techno games.
This is true.
Well,
early techno games at least.
Yeah, early techno games. But Tecumseh, I would love to have seen this thing just appear in Robot Wars with a giant saw, just to. I mean, I don't think it would have like made waves. It wouldn't have won the series or anything, but I think it's just the pure size of it.
I think it would have been hard to fight. I'll say it would have been hard to fight because it's just the scale of the thing is just so big. I wonder if it was overweight.
I'm not sure. I think
because obviously the wiki says 120 kilos. I would say it might be a bit heavier than that.
I think in that case they might have just like they could have taken like the saw off and maybe just put a spike on it and maybe reduced the weight that way.
I mean, they did have a weaponless version. Like there's a picture of it without a weapon.
Yeah, I think that was just for techno games, though. I think.
Yeah, true, but like it does show that they could do it. But at the same time, I get the feeling like watching the video where they were racing and one of the legs got all loose in the fight with Ulysses. By the looks of it. Like, I get the feeling like it probably wouldn't have fared too well if it got into a fight with something like Hypnodisc.
And also, it would be kind of pointless to enter a weaponless walker because they're already at disadvantage as it is, and then having no weapon.
Millennium Bug was basically weaponless. It had that whatever that was cutting milling disc at the back of it. It was basically weaponless because it couldn't bloody reach anything. It was so tall.
And a quote unquote forklift at the front, which didn't move. Just spikes. But yeah, I mean, Clawtopper had spikes. So, it was going to do a lot. But, yeah, I just wanted to talk about Tecumseh. Mainly because, again, it's actually one of the few robots in these failed to qualify series where we've actually seen it in action and do stuff, albeit not in Robot Wars, but basically spin-off of it. But, yeah, so I guess that was Tecumseh. Sam, your second pick is also another robot that we're very familiar with, but not in this form.
Very, very familiar with. So, my next robot is Sir Chromalot, the Series 7 version.
The only time it is not a circle.
No, so obviously, I think this was because at the end of Extreme 2, obviously they got that big hit from Matilda and got flipped out of the arena. And I wouldn't be surprised because I don't know if it was the same wheel hub the whole time, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was from Series 1 through to Extreme 2.
No, it wouldn't surprise me.
Like 1, maybe 2. They've been used since then.
I'm just going to look at random pictures of Chromalot now and see if I can actually see any difference.
well, anyway, so I wonder. Well, either way, so I do think that they would have taken a big old hit, and I think that could have been what caused them to say, okay, we need to actually change this machine up because, let's face it, it's not the, it's probably been broken and ripped apart.
Yeah.
So the Steam Railway Race obviously went away, and they went away for brought back a new robot. So Chromalot for Series 7, way different. It's a box shaped robot. It looks very Tornado-esque.
It's only 2-wheel drive though.
No, yeah, this is true, but it would have made sense because at the time, obviously, Tornado were the champions. So following that concept of machine would make sense. Rambot with a cutting disc at the front, or some kind of not obvious weapon, but like a weapon, like a minor weapon to go with like drive power or something. Anyway,
yeah.
So they had this robot, and then they got Drew against Scorpion, who they actually fought obviously in Series 4 way back when Scorpion had that face.
Just the infamous. I'm just going to post that picture of Mike with the Scorpion.
There it is.
there it is.
Okay. So they fought Scorpion in the qualifiers. Now Scorpion, by this point in Robot Wars history, had gone away and then really radically changed their machine and was probably the most powerful spinner, arguably other than Typhoon in the series.
Yeah.
And
maybe Exterminator.
Well, yeah, but Exterminator wouldn't have had to qualify, would they? And, okay, horizontal spinner.
Fair enough.
Certainly the most powerful horizontal spinner, like other than Typhoon. Obviously, Typhoon was a cone, but whatever. Anyway.
And they got their arse kicked.
Well, yeah, as I say, according to the wiki, once again, it says that Sir Chromalot was ripped to pieces in its qualifier battle, which was the Vengeance battle with Scorpion.
Ouch.
And as a result, Sir Chromalot failed to qualify for Series 7. I do wonder, the scale of the damage, because if the wiki still believe it was torn to pieces, whatever, I wonder if they weren't like if they were, it was like written off, because if it wasn't, I imagine they probably would have been let in anyway.
Yeah,
especially because obviously they were struggling for seeds in Series 7.
So they could have put Zerchroma in there.
Well, exactly, because they've been around since Series 3, and I think the reason they gave people like Ming Dynasty and teams like that, and Bulldog Breed and so on and so forth seeds, because they've been around for a long time, and they had a pedigree in Robot Wars, for example.
Yeah.
So Chromalot, as much as they were a bit of a joke entry, they did have a pedigree.
Yeah.
I think part of it might be like, there's a whole thing of like how they did stuff, how they were doing stuff like, and obviously this robot does have an active weapon with those two saws, but like, I think with that, the producers probably didn't want so many box-shaped robots.
Yeah,
and so I imagine
like
that
tetanus booster and such.
Yeah. So like, I think they would have. Like, the sad thing is, I think they would have actually stood a better chance of getting in if they just
with the original
classic.
Yeah. Whether that was whether it was is still in a fit state to fight after getting yeeted from one word out of the arena by Matilda. I think in fairness, the later Chromebot machines, they weren't terrible.
No, they were just weren't as good as the other robots out there.
No, they were fairly solid.
I wish we had a picture of what it looked like afterwards, because I need to assess the damage of how much Scorpion did to it.
Yeah, it would be nice if they were able to, give us an idea of how powerful the machine was, but Scorpion giving them the absolute beating. But I think, like, I'm kind of happy and kind of sad. Obviously sad we didn't get to see Chromebot one more time in Robot Wars, but kind of happy because the last time we saw it was a spectacular way to go out.
Yeah,
against Matilda, and as well as like it was like, I'm kind of happy because like the last time we saw it was classic Chromalot.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing. Like, admittedly, I'm not a massive fan. Like, I like how shiny this one is, but I prefer the classic Sir Chromalot. I just like how, even as all the competition was getting stronger and stronger, outside of like the flipper being added at some point, Sir Chromalot's never really, tried to change itself too much.
I will say, with the two flipper versions were actually, again, fairly effective for what they were. I think as Jonathan Pierce quite rightly put it in Series 6, that was their best Robot Wars, because they were, they did, as much as they didn't make it the furthest that they ever made it. I think round 2 was the best they achieved ever.
Yeah.
But like, the way that they performed in that first round, and as fortunate as they may have been to go through, the canny driving against S3 as well was phenomenal. It was such a great game of cat and mouse between the two of them.
Oh, definitely. It just feels bad that the one time they change the design and then they just get destroyed.
They didn't get him.
Yeah. Although, again, though, it is good to end on I guess a high note, even if it is detrimental. I mean.
Yeah. I'm sure that, obviously Ray, bless him, is no longer with us, but Steve, bless him, is no longer with us. Ray's still going, I think. Fairly certain. It's it was a great way to end their history with the show and kind of end their end their tenure with the original Chromalot.
Yeah, it could be worse. It could be like, you could end up like teams like the Berserk team, where you'd end up with your last robot is Twister. Or one of the unsung ones I think that's quite sad is Corkscrew, going from that really cool appearance in the Commonwealth to a spinner that didn't work.
Were they absolutely annihilated? Was it Bondi Titch?
Bondi Titch.
Ripping the arse, and then in Series 6, battering Panic Attack, Rocks, and most of Chronic as well.
Yeah, and then in Series 7 it just has this. I didn't mind the design as much. It just the weapon just didn't work.
It looked like there was no character to Corkscrew 3, whatever it was, Corkscrew 2 to Corkscrew 3, because the first one and the second one in Series 6 had so much more character. But digressing a little bit from Chromalot, I get what you mean.
Yeah, I agree as well on the Corkscrew thing.
Yeah.
I guess we'll actually move on. Coincidentally, Sean's second entry is actually not too distant from this version of Chromalot in terms of design, which I've just realised. We have
Mincer!
There we go.
We cocked up.
Mincer, aka M1. Pretty much.
Oh my god, the think that's what the M in M2 stands for.
It's a logical conclusion. I mean, is there entry for Series 5? I thought it was 4.
7.
4.
No, Series. Yeah, because M2 is Series 7.
Series 4.
Series
Yeah,
4.
Series 7.
They also failed to qualify with M2 in Series 5, which is basically the one they had in Series 7. But
well,
yeah.
I think by this point they had been competing on the live circuit for a while, hadn't they? That's why M2 was driven so well. You kind of think, a newcomer like M2 coming in and driving that well compared to say Tiberius, they've been there for 5 years already.
Yeah,
you kind of think.
I do think M2 is quite underrated for what it's worth.
It is, yeah.
But Mincer, though, actually, I don't know. It's just like a very kind of very Tornado-esque, even though Tornado wasn't really big at this time.
Yeah, it's got 4 wheels, and it had a 5 kilogram drum, which spun up to 3,200 RPM, which, as light as that is, for back in early Robot Wars, that is a very nice RPM.
I'm actually looking at the tip speed rather than the the RPM, because obviously it is quite a small drum. Drums typically will spin faster than a disc. So for example, Pulsar's drum spun at 9,000 RPM, but it was very small in diameter.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is so the tip speed was 80 miles an hour, which is around about the same speed that Hypno Disc span at that point. I think they were 75. I think, but obviously their disc weighed 4 times more than whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So it spanned at a speed relative to whatever the other spinners of the time, but the weight behind it, because it was only 5 kilo, whatever it was.
Yeah,
it probably wouldn't have done as much damage as say a proper disc at the time.
Yeah, I mean, sad thing is we don't really know, because in the qualifier the weapon didn't function. It did win its qualifier, but it didn't get selected. I'm assuming because it was probably really boring without the weapon working.
It Dantomkia'd.
It did.
Although it's actually kind of a shame, because apparently from the team the weapon has not failed. Didn't fail before. Didn't fail afterwards. It only failed in the qualifier. Because of course
it's
it was.
just like Gravedigger.
Iron Ore 6.
Gravedigger.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, just Iron Ore.
Poor
For our
Iron Ore.
entire Series 10, that was basically what happened to Iron Ore.
I felt so sad for Iron Ore.
I was so sad, and I was so sad and frustrated for them, because it was just you'd see them trying, and it's oh look, it's working now. Let's hope it works when we get in the arena. No,
gets hit by concussion once, and then just falls over. How did that thing get into the rumble? Let's be real here. How did that happen?
Also,
I'd have rather have Androne in there. That'd have been amazing.
That would be cool.
Oh my god, yes.
Androne in the rumble would have been so sick.
By the way,
go on.
credit to Iron Ore. Even without the flipper, it was a pretty damn good wedge.
Oh, definitely, it was low.
It's a pyramid. It's gonna do well. Anyway, back to Mincer.
Yeah, Mincer. There's a picture on the wiki I quite like with the kids in it.
Yes, I love that. The fact that they put the 2 kids in there, it's great.
That's the secret weapon. The kids will jump out and beat up the robots.
They actually power the drum.
I also do. Yeah, they just run on it. They just run the little hamster wheel underneath. I also like the picture that there's of that and the original Killer Carrot. I think that's great.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, it's weird because I keep forgetting that Killer Carrot actually did attempt at one other point, which is
apparently they also fought Destructor Bubble in their qualifiers, and they beat Destructor Bubble, but apparently it was full of holes afterwards.
Yeah.
Is that? Oh no, sorry. Yeah, the qualification tour.
Yeah, it's basically the qualifiers. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And Killer Carrot at an event.
I have to say, Mincer might be one of the better looking robots from Series 4. Obviously there was some
didn't qualify. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that this was when robots were starting to look quite nice, but Mincer is, it looks really well made. I imagine had they gotten the drum problems worked out, it could have at the very least been a reasonable contender. I doubt it would have.
So I think looking at it, it ran at 13 miles an hour with the Sinclair C5s. I tempted to say maybe, depending on the heat finalist.
I could definitely see
it had that kind of potential because it looks nice. Like, don't get me wrong, it looks like a nice machine. Like, for the time, it looks well made. It's got not necessarily got wedges, but like it's got slanted sides, and it's not going to get stuck on its side. It's got a kinetic energy weapon,
and the drum's also reversible. So if it gets flipped over, then you switch it back down again.
Yeah, exactly. So it and the artwork's nice. It looks really nicely made for the time.
I would love to see this thing go against Mousetrap. Just the words fly.
Here's another thought. Actually, it's apparently weigh like 79.1 kilograms. It's like they could have probably improved the drum and
they could put another kilo on the drum.
Yeah, and especially when it gets upgraded to like 100 kilogram weight limit. Like, I wonder what Minta could have looked like,
or could have been. Well, obviously M2 was obviously vastly superior, obviously, but like, yeah,
it's still a really cool robot. Definitely one of the better failed to qualify robots I've seen.
Yeah,
so far. Sure. I mean, there's not a high standard for some of them, but
no,
I'll at least give it credit. It's a robot that it's funny because if it had appeared, it would be like them and Tornado, because might have been like almost on par with each other at points. So
I mean, I think Tornado was special because it has the acceleration of it was just through the roof and just didn't stop gunning basically.
Yeah.
Whereas I think whether this was geared the same way and was able to drive the same way, who knows? But it looks nice enough.
It's an interesting what if, at least. Anyway, I guess my second robot is another Series 4 robot, and also coincidentally would have been very similar to a at least had a similar aspect to a robot that also debuted in Series 4. It would have been also one of the other potentially the first clusterbot to appear on the series if before Gemini. It was Share and Destroy. This thing is weird looking. Just right off the bat, it is massive.
It is long, boy.
It is long and round. Apparently it's literally just a drum. Like, there's no proper like armor on it.
Nope.
You say it's a cluster bot, but I'm trying to figure out where the other half is. I don't think there's a picture of it.
The thing is, there's a picture of it on the bottom bit. There's like a picture where it is in its frame, and you can see that there's like a wedge on either side. And from what I've gathered is that the steel drum on the front where the wedge is in the main picture of it is the first one, and there's a flipper on the other side, and it splits in half, and that's the second robot. So basically, they're basically like how Gemini are, where they're kind of back to back, and then they'll split up, and then have two little flippers on them either way. So
interesting.
That's the
way. I kind of just imagined it like popping out of the drum down the wedge of the bigger one.
it's like my idea for a cluster I've always had, where the smaller robot is inside the bigger robot and it drives out like a little ramp.
I do like how it says it only the whole machine cost £47.09 to build. You can't even build an ant weight for that these days. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I know a lot of it was like second hand and sourced parts and such, but like, damn, that's so cheap.
I do just wonder how sturdy this robot would have been though, because it is just a barrel. Like, there's no support for it. So if like a hammer had come on it,
I mean, I don't know, because like you say that, as we mentioned earlier, Scorpezoid didn't really take much damage until like Series 6, and it fought S3. It fought a big spinner.
Oh, I suppose so. Yeah, I mean, although if it was against something like Mortis or Hypnodisc.
Oh yeah, Hypnodisc would have just like
ripped it.
Annihilated it. Yeah, of course it would. But like, it like to be that unlucky to be drew against like at the time the most destructive machine in the series was just it's unlucky, isn't it?
Yeah, I would like to see this team like come back with a slightly more improved version of the design, because theoretically I actually kind of like the idea of two round robots with a little flipper on them. Like, it almost reminds me of a Storm Force slightly. Just shape-wise.
I get like later Morg machines, like mini Morg and such.
Yeah, I can see that as well. Actually, I do like the idea of it. It's like it's kind of weird, isn't it? Like, clusterbots really hadn't appeared until they hadn't appeared on TV yet, because obviously this is before Series 4 had aired, and two teams had coincidentally come up with the same idea for putting the robots together in like the kind of back-to-back formation.
I wonder if teams had asked them the series before and said, "Oh yeah, you can actually do this, by the way, if you want to."
Yeah.
Or maybe that was a rule change for Series 4 or something. I don't know.
I don't know, because no one really done it beforehand, had they?
Yeah,
really?
yeah, exactly. So maybe when they wrote the rules out for Series 4, because obviously that was the year that movable links came in, wasn't it? Series 4.
Yeah.
Maybe when they updated the build parameters and things that you could and couldn't do, maybe they said, "Oh, by the way, you can do cluster bots if you want, or you can split the weight over 2 machines and enter that."
Wouldn't it be kind of ironic that if Share and Destroy was the first of the two to send their application in, and then because of that they had to make the rule changes for Gemini because of that?
Well, maybe. Who knows?
It's entirely possible. I mean, Gemini would have. Granted, yeah. But and also one thing I do like is that each of the partners has a name. The big one is called Marvin, and the small one is called Nivram, which is Marvin backwards.
I love that.
Perfect.
I love it. I love that. And also, apparently, according to their website, which they have a website, which is kind of funny to me, their website, Share and Destroy, it goes by the name of SAD, S-A Die.
Sadie.
Sadie, yeah.
Sadie.
I love that. That's pretty cool.
I do have to voice a similar opinion to you earlier. As much as I don't think this would have done much of anything, for such a low budget, I'm impressed that they managed to put something together at all. That on its own, that's pretty impressive.
You couldn't do that these days at all, could you?
No.
Oh God, no.
No. You can't even buy I'm trying to think of a heavyweight speed controller, but 4, 5, 6, 7 times that. A decent one would be up in the thousands. Come on now.
Oh, I have an idea on how to get a heavyweight robot. Okay, step 1, go to Sam Elliott 64's house. Step 2, put him in a headlock. Step 3, make him take you to Mingo, and step just walk away.
I ain't driving that far. Trust me, that's way too far away.
Well, you will if I keep you in the headlock the whole way.
There you go.
We'll be able to see where I'm going. Come on now.
There's the catch.
And plus, there's also the small problem of I am a wimp, and you'd be able to beat the shit out of me.
Don't put yourself down, Sean. Don't put yourself down.
I'm a lover, not a fighter. Come on now.
We're making robot love, not robot war.
Yeah. That's another. We should review that song one day. Can we do that? Android love. Classic that is, mate. Classic.
Please, folks, send in your Sam Elliott 64 and Dominus Ignis fan arts right now.
Didn't even make the top 100 in the charts. That's specialist. That is.
I can't lie. I've listened to Android Love way more times than I should have because I can't stop laughing at it.
I have literally only seen it once.
The video's garbage. What were they thinking? What were the BBC thinking?
The thing that really gets the thing is it's bad enough on its own. Then the big part happens where it's just like loading pleasure program 69. And it's did they make? No, I don't want to say it and James's video take down. But did they just make Sir Kill-A-Lot? I'll leave that there.
Yeah, we'll leave that there, and I think we'll move on to the next robot. Methinks before we get this podcast age restricted. And lose...
it's got R-rated already.
I've lost monetization on a channel that doesn't get monetization. That's how bad it gets.
Yep.
YouTube's knocking at your. YouTube wants to know your location.
It already does. Fight me. Anyway.
Yep.
Next is the final entry for Sam, and it's also another modern robot, which I quite like. It is.
Yeah, it is. It's Neutron,
which formerly also known as Tanto, which in the pilot episode.
Yeah, it was in the pilot episode for Series 8, and it's it used to be it was my former teammate, the former robot of my current teammate, I should say, Craig Croucher.
You try to replace him? Former teammate.
I would never replace Craig. Craig is wonderful.
Of course, both of you are now on the two-headed Death Flamingo team.
Yes, exactly. So Tanto is Neutron was Tanto. I think this is Tanto Mark 5. Yeah. I want to say something like that. I think it was 4 or 5. I can't remember off the top of my head. And this is the only one with an active weapon, I think. And they managed to integrate a vertical spinner with a I want to say it was a mag motor, but I can't remember. for context, this robot is tiny. It is so small.
It's very heavy.
It looks.
It
looks really cool. I do love the look of Neutron. Like when I saw it in the Skype chat, I was like,
I was so gutted. I was so gutted that it didn't manage to get into because I knew that they applied for Series 9 as well. I didn't know them that well at this point. Like, I knew of them. I'd spoken to. I accidentally ended up somehow going to a viewing party for the final of Series 8, and I met them there. They were really nice guys. Really got on with them well. And there's this great photo of it next to Terahertz. Terahertz is a fairly big machine in its own right.
Yeah.
And it's like it sat next to it, and it was so small. I need to try and find this picture. I'll send it to you later or something. But just comparing the two of them,
it's tiny.
It is crazy, and you just kind of think, wow, how do you fit 108 kilos into this thing?
And it's fast. Apparently, it's 24-mile-an-hour top speed.
I'm fairly certain the early ones were E-Tech drive. I want to say.
Oh damn, that's real fast.
I do love super compact robots like Neutron, Foxtrot, Minotaur, Tantrum.
Yeah.
There's just something really cool about seeing how tightly they can cram it together.
It's on their Facebook page. So I'm sure if you ask them very nice, I'm sure they'll let you have they'll let you use it. But I'll just post it in the chat so you two can see it.
Can I just say one thing though? In the Robot Wars mod, fuck Neutron with the
so
spin.
Overpowered.
God, it is so tiny.
It's tiny.
I've just put a picture of it now. I'll put it in the review there. It's for scale. It's next to terahertz, and
holy shit!
I mean, terahertz is it's not
it's fairly
biggest.
Big.
It's fairly big, but it's not like the biggest robot ever. But damn.
It's really small. And they're the same weight. They're the same weight.
Holy shit.
By the way, small reminder, everyone. Back when I did the Fuck It tournament with Harry, I managed to beat Tanto with the weapon twice.
Tanto is so good in that game. It's ridiculous. Tanto is overpowered as hell. But anyway, back to Neutron a bit. So obviously they didn't qualify in Series 9, but they were on the pilot for Series 8.
Yeah.
And I want to say that they fought Basher, which was Beta, Kapow, and Turbulence, and I believe that somehow I can't remember what happened, but somehow they ended up not affecting somehow beating Beta or not kind of affecting Beta in some way. I can't remember exactly. It is a while. I was told the story, but I can't remember.
It says here that at one point they drove over Kapow, somersaulted through the air, and then the removable link fell out.
Yeah, that's basically what. And I remember they weren't allowed to use the spinner because the arena at the time for Series 8 didn't have the roof on. So they hadn't finished constructing the arena yet, so it was still being put together.
That's unfortunate.
That's a shame.
I mean,
yeah. So I'm 99% sure. I don't know exactly. I'm sure the team will probably comment on this because they're good guys. But I'm fairly sure that they never got to run the spinner on this thing. It never happened.
I need to see that spinner going. Now that we've gotten talking about this, and I want to imagine that if we get the spinner going, it's going to be just like in the Robot Wars mod. In
the arena, certainly. In the arena, they certainly never got to use it. That's for sure. It's a shame.
It's because they knew about the Robot Wars mod, and they were like, we can't risk this happening in real life.
Yeah, we can't dominate this much. We have to let some of other teams win. God.
Oh God, no. I mean, one thing about the robot. I mean, I don't know if it's me being stupid or me just not being observant. Is that I've only noticed now, genuinely, when we started talking about it today, it has its eyes on the bottom.
Well, they're the eyes from Snappy.
Yeah, I think
the same kind of stuff. So Snappy, who was in Bogglebox, that's obviously Craig's machine. So they're the same eyes.
Yeah, because for some reason, being dumb, because the official picture it has on the wiki, I thought the eye was that little hole on the round bit.
No,
it looked
on the wedges.
I didn't see that. I just noticed there was an eye on the bottom. I'm like, I feel like an idiot now. just seeing it down. I was like, that's not the place I look for eyes. It's like right on the base bit. I'm like, all right, that's where they're gonna be. But no, I see the snappy connection now. It seems way too obvious now, which makes it even more stupid for me. But
also, if you check the Skype chat again, you can see my A+ humour that I was typing while you talked.
Oh, I'm sure you have some very good humour. You are a genius.
Dear me. Anyway, so yeah, that's Neutron. I was always I always enjoy. I really wanted to see them in Series 9. I really, because they're good kids. Are Jack and Craig. Obviously, Craig's older than me, so probably call them kids.
It's making me really sad now. I really wish I got to see them go with that.
Yeah,
now.
It's a shame we never got. I think had it been a bigger series, like obviously, I'm fairly sure they would have been fine. It's just that the two series they applied for, there was 40 spots, and then obviously by the time Series 10 rolled around, they both kind of moved on to their own respective new teams.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
What are you gonna do?
It's a shame.
And then actually, Sean's final robot is another modern robot, which also is. Although this team actually have appeared in all 3 series of the modern series, but this is their kind of like their live show superstar. It is.
Well, I want to explain. This team tried to enter Series 8 with put forward 3 different robots for Series 8. They put forward Shockwave, which got in. They put forward Maelstrom, which didn't get in. And they put forward this robot we're going to talk about, Manta.
Oh, I love Manta.
I'm fairly sure as well. I'm certain they applied to Series 10 with Manta as well. I think.
Did they? It doesn't say on the wiki that they did.
I can't remember if they did or not, but I'm sure that, or there was talk that they did. I can't remember. I think Anderson might have said it to me. I can't remember.
I think they maybe wanted to enter it, but I think the producers wanted more Aftershock.
Well, I can understand why, because Aftershock is Bay, but like
it's good, but I would love.
It's kind of it's disappointing for those guys who they've proven at this point they've built Shockwave, which was great. Got to the final. Built Aftershock, which was great. Got to the final. Surely they should have been given a chance to prove themselves, and actually gun for the title with a robot that they were used to and knew how it worked.
Yeah.
Which is a shame that they never got to do that. But Manta's well nice, isn't it? Let's face it.
It's very beautiful.
I mentioned the reason it didn't get in is just because there was so many flippers trying to get into Robot Wars as is. I imagine name recognition or not, it was going to be a tough fight. But it's such a shame because Manta I think it's a safe thing to say that it's probably one of the best flippers in the UK scene.
It's top 2. I'd say top 2 with Eruption.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Those 2 are the ones they're the ones that you always see towards the sharp end of the live events. So
yes, yeah. So it's actually kind of like when I think about whenever I see people argue, how would American flippers do against Brit flippers, I think this would be one of the ones that you would want to put forward in a fight like that.
Yeah,
it's just a very sleek robot. I just love it.
Oh, it's really. I also like the new color scheme that it's gone for. These days, for the 2019 season, it's got 2019 set of events. It's gone for the Aftershock colors of the blue flipper, but the grey side. It's kind of like its original design actually. It's very similar to that.
Yeah, it's a very very sleek look. I mean, how many times have they won the live circuit now? It's
one. They've only won one UK championship, I believe.
That was 2017, I believe, wasn't it?
That's insane to think about, really.
It's that's with all their machines as well. I don't think they won it with Aftershock last year either. So I think they only won it once because, let's face it, they're in an era where Eruption's kind of winning everything as well. And they always finish top 2, and it's just they always get just close, but they just couldn't quite get it over the line. Then 2017 they managed it, which is great.
Yeah, because when you have the Brit wedge flippers, the 3 that always come to mind are Manta, Eruption, and Iron Ore. They're the kind of the classic 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, I love the picture that Sean just. Was it Sean? Yeah, Sean. I think it was on on our chat with the little family.
Yeah, it's a little family photo.
Yeah, it's great.
You got Heatwave.
Heatwave.
Aftershock. Manta, and I'm not sure what the name of the other one is. The other wedge flash.
I believe it's Earthquake.
Earthquake, I think.
Is it Earthquake?
Yeah,
Is it
Earthquake.
I think that rings a bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Ignition, but then I remember no, that's Team Eruption's new front hinge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I love the little family picture they've got there. It's like a little family, like the relatives are all there. There's no Shockwave though. He's kind of like got.
Okay, so can I just like say quickly, like I love, Team Shock are really nice guys. Always a pleasure to talk to. Always a pleasure to fight them with the Mingo as well. Don't get us wrong, but like. I want to see more Shockwave. I miss Shockwave so much.
Oh my god, same. Like the thing is, I remember once, I can't remember who, but I remember in a round conversation, someone said to me, "Oh, I didn't like Shockwave personally." I was thinking, what? It's basically like the UK Breaker Box, and I love Breaker Box as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
exactly. I love Shockwave.
Like a bit of our context, like BattleBots 2019 coming up soon. There's Duck and Breaker Box in that series, okay, which I'm really excited for both of those because I love the 360 pirouetting design. I think that's great. And obviously when Shockwave did that in Series 8, it worked really well. They did a good job. I do wonder, whether the damage they took from Carbide was very obviously it was very severe. Obviously they had to pull out of the fight they were in, but like. Come on, Will, bring it back. It's really nice.
Will, if you're somehow listening to this, tell us where Shockwave is. What have you done to it?
I mean, no.
Keep it in the shed somewhere.
I mean, the only thing I remember about one of the big things I remember about Shockwave was probably having the hands down one of the most painful looking after I guess no pun intended aftershocks of a hit. In Series 8, after it got hit by Carbide, you just see the remains of the wheel coming out, and it's just it's one of those like painful shots.
It's really sad because like they were dominating that fight as well. Like they had Carbide, slamming it around the arena, and then Aftershock stopped because
the arena got broken.
So not Shockwaves kind of stopped. I think they got hit once, and then the arena broke, and they were just kind of like sitting there doing nothing, and then that was it.
Yeah, it was a real anticlimax for how well they were doing. But yeah, Manta though it's a shame we never saw it, but I can at least see the producers' reasoning for not putting it in because the amount of wedge flippers that are already like Apollo and Eruption are already there, and then having another one, it's a very similar thing like Dantomkia. Like it's not a bad robot, it's just compared to where there's other robots that probably would have been more entertaining, I guess, on camera. So
sorry, random note, but Team Shock is absolutely prepared for any featherweight scenario.
Yeah, they've got everything, haven't they?
They've got an armada of small robots.
Could you imagine, like, one day, like, it's just a regular day in the pits, and then Team Shock come in and bring all their robots to face all of Iron Ore's robots in an ultimate clash?
Look how many heavy. I mean, let's think how many heavies they've got. They've got 4, 5 heavies. 3, 4 heavies. So they've got a lot of heavies.
I mean, the list on the wiki are just how Team Shock of how many robots they have, different weight classes. Damn.
I'm going to actually look at this. Hold on. Give me a second.
Excluding the ones I mentioned, there's Martha Bar.
Holy shit!
Avalanche, Earthquake, Hammerhead, Heatwave, Inertia XL, Shockwave, Stingray, Swordfish, Tidal Wave 2, Whirlpool, Inertia B1 and B2, Momentum, and then you have Aftershock and Manta, and Heatwave.
And oh my god! And then there was like that time they had like commissions, and the only one that we know of is the Tragic Roundabout. I'm just gonna say, Team Shock, we are not worthy. Oh my god, this is amazing.
If they wanted to take over the world, they could.
I mean, also, I like how I still love Maelstrom just because it's they bought Saint Aggro and didn't just they continued it and tried to. Yeah, they rebuilt Saint Aggro and basically just turned it into something else. Yeah, like it's nice to see that they tried to modernize it so it could still be like kind of competitive.
It's really cool. I also have a shout out to Stingray. I just love the little flail on the back of it. It's the tail. I do appreciate that kind of weapon.
Oh my god! I just remembered Inertia from the Robot Wars mod. Inertia wasn't. I swear. Yeah, it says here. Featuring a design greatly resembling that of Aftershock. I was just thinking, like, maybe that was the inspiration that eventually led to Aftershock.
Possibly. It's entirely possible. But
Inertia, yeah. Inertia XL was what they based it off.
Oh my god. I was... There, now it all makes sense to me.
Oh, definitely. I guess should we move on to the final robot again after Manta? Which,
Yep.
I picked this robot partially because I think it is kind of unique, but also because it had an absolute shitstorm in its qualifier, which I need to mention this because it's just great. It is Scorpezoid, who
bringing to you the refreshing taste of Sprite.
Yeah, because right off the bat, there's a bottle on its official image, and this was because they had a spinning weapon on an arm, right? They had to take one of the weapons off because it was overweight, which caused it to spin around in circles because it was imbalanced. And they didn't have any proper way of protecting it, so they just took a bottle and just covered it, and then even producers were kind of like, you shouldn't do that.
I mean, sharp edge protection back in the day obviously wasn't taken as seriously by the looks of things, but
Really not.
God damn.
Yeah, I mean, the fact they didn't think of it is kind of something. Like, we got this giant rotating weapon that's apparently really powerful. Yeah, we don't cover it; it'll be fine. But yeah, Scorpezoid. Before I talk about its qualifying battle, I will admit it's a very unique robot off the bat, just because it's kind of like when I first looked at this thing, I thought it was like a pneumatic arm, like a punch, but no, it's a giant spinner, which apparently it did do damage in its qualifier against iBot 1 Beta, so it's potentially got damage, chance of doing damage. It just was not as good, didn't get a discretionary place for some reason, which I'm not 100% sure why. But it's a very odd robot though, isn't it, in a way? Because all the weapons are just on one side, which you don't see very often.
It reminds me of that robot. Is it Sidewinder from BattleBots?
It might be. I'm not particularly familiar with Sidewinder, I don't think.
It's from the new season. I don't know if you've seen it. Sean, you might know probably a bit more about it.
I've not.
Sorry, you both cut out for me then, so I have no idea what you.
I was comparing. I mean, I don't know why I was comparing. I was comparing Scorpezoid to Sidewinder.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I've just got a picture of it. Yeah, it's got a weapon on the side of it. Yeah. It's like a wedge with 4-wheel drive, and it's got a spar spinner on the side of it. It's like two robots in one.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah, it is like that. Yeah. But it's very unique though, because there's not many robots that just have all this weaponry just on one side when it's already a robot that faces forward. It's not like it's a drum spinner or something. It's just this pole arm with a spike on it. But yeah, its qualifier though was just mental. I mean, one thing I have to mention as well. Apparently, this team, they came back from France on holiday. They arrived home at 11 o'clock at night, and then set off at 6:15 in the morning for the qualifier on the same day, on the next day. That's
crazy.
That is mental. And also, apparently, the robot barn, it wasn't supposed to be a spinner originally. It was supposed to be I quote, a low-voltage, high-current electrical discharge weapon, which is not allowed.
Oh my god.
They were using an EMP?
Pretty much. That was what their original weapon was going to be. until the producers told them, yeah, you can't. We never had allowed that. So, I don't know why you thought you could use it now. But the rules were, because Hypnodisc is gone, we can use it now, I guess. I don't know. But
the thing I find crazy when I'm reading about the qualification is they were missing the top armor to protect it from overhead attacks, and yet it was still 10 kilograms overweight.
Yeah, so take another spinning weapon off it, and then it.
Sorry, just to bring that up, that means like.
It was 105 kilos.
If you put the top armor on it, it would probably still be overweight for the modern series.
Yeah, that is.
So if it was 10 kilos overweight, which that would have meant it would be 110 kilos, all right? So that would it would have been just in the weight limit.
Just
in the weight limit.
Yeah, but then add the top armor, which they were missing.
It would have been overweight. Oh god.
So that means it was almost as heavy as that kick robot from Series 2, which is still the heaviest. Well, that one was the only robot in that battle that actually qualifies as a super heavyweight. Now.
It's like it's like. Did they armor it in granite or something? I don't know.
I don't know, but the qualifier is amazing because I mentioned with it. They for iBot 1 Beta, the Dutch robot, Metalis from Team Death, and Tough as Nails, another Dutch robot on future Heat semi-finalists, and some random robot made out of wood. We don't know what it is. It's made out of plywood. It didn't get in because we don't know what it is, so that kind of explains it. But this is what makes me laugh, right? Tough as Nails and Metalis rammed into each other and died instantly. They died. They just immobilized each other. I don't know what happened. I don't know what Metalis did or what stuff. It must have been.
Imagine that, right? Let's be real here. Like, Tough as Nails looks like a competent machine, right? It is a competent machine.
It is a competent machine, yeah.
Imagine losing to Metalis, a team death robot that at this point the team had still not won a televised fight. Imagine that.
I mean, granted, Metalis is the most competent robot they've actually ever entered into the main series, but even then, a team death robot, it's kind of embarrassing. These two somehow managed to get a discretionary place based off that performance. I mean, I can understand Tough as Nails because of how unique designed it is, but I'm not sure why Metalis got one.
It was the first ever machine made out of Hardox, I believe, or using Hardox.
Yeah, exactly. And I think because it was Team Death, and they gave him a bit of a go. Like, why not? And then Scorpezoid had like a little tussle with. All it could do was basically spin in circles because they took the weight off one of the spinners, just basically made it unbalanced, so it was just like heavier on one side. And then Ibot and Beta apparently ripped a hole in it, but apparently they also ripped a hole inside Ibot 1 Beta as well. So the weapon actually just worked. It just was too heavy. Yeah, and that's quite impressive considering the fact the weapon was actually unbalanced at that point, and they still managed to do some mad damage. It's like in Robot Arena 2 when one of your spinner teeth falls off. And
no! And it's like absolutely, going absolutely berserk and start flicking around the arena like nothing.
Yeah, you're lucky if you hit anything at that point.
But if you do, then your opponent breaks apart because you probably put Typhoon teeth on your robot.
Yeah,
and you stack them.
I mean, despite its weight problems, though, I actually would have given these guys a discretionary place. Honestly, if they could sort out the weight, provided they could do that,
and replace the 7-Up bottle with, like, I don't know, a Coke bottle or something.
No, Fanta's where it's at. Come on, get real.
Oh, Fanta Fruit Twist.
There we go. No, grape, the new grape one.
Oh, let's go.
There we go. But yeah, if they could do that, I could see this weapon. Like, I do think though personally to make it a bit more reliable, they should just put it straight in in the middle, like any other robot would. I don't know. It just seems a bit weird putting it on the side because I don't see.
I mean, double the weapons, double the damage. Am I right?
Or put one on either. Yeah, exactly.
That's why. But they had to reduce it because it was too heavy. So I mean, yeah.
I mean, look at the size of that weapon thing, though. It is the length of the robot.
Yep.
It looks like some like weapon you get from like a steampunk. Like it just charges up. Like, it looks like one of those kind of like proto Halo weapons or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like you spin it and then you hit it, or like something from Half-Life or something. But it's just this robot amazing because I remember I've seen this robot a few times. I've like randomly looked at robots that failed to qualify, and I've kind of dismissed it a few times. Kind of going, "Oh, it's just a weird-looking robot." And then I just started reading more about its qualifiers and the amount of shit they both went through and caused for the producers. And it's just like this is just funny at this point. I don't know. It's the fact that we're in a battle with Metalis and Tough as Nails and both of them killed each other. That alone just makes it worthwhile talking about, even if it's not about Scorpezoid itself.
I mean, to be honest, it is Metalis. Team Death,
No, I expect
I'm surprised Tough as Nails could compete in Series 7 after that.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, most teams would have been written off by that. A lesser robot, if it wasn't made out of that Hardox, mate, it would have been written off. It would have been game over. But because it was able to carry on.
They never gave him that rematch.
Oh my god!
They never gave him that good rematch. Unfortunately, Saros and Scraptosaur were too strong for them.
I'm sorry, I went down the rabbit hole for a second and I misread one of the subtitles, one of the pictures on Metalis' page. I thought it said Metalis bites Growl, and I was gonna go, yeah!
And now there's Growler bites Metalis. Boo.
No, I was hoping Metalis suddenly just went rogue and started beating up the house robot.
Started eating the house robots, no less.
Yes. Oh my god.
Jeff, Scorpezoid was a thing.
That sure was a thing.
It was a thing that existed.
It looks happy. And it looks like it had fun.
Do you know something that is amazing, though? Right, and I will link it in the description, right? The website still exists.
What?
There's a website. It's actually in the links at the very bottom of Scorpezoid's page. This is where we got all this information about the qualifiers and stuff. Because I was wondering how it was so detailed. And I realized this guy has written basically a little blog about what happened. And there's even pictures of damage that's happened to it, pictures of the robot, everything. It's only one page, I think. It's a massive blocky text. But if you're interested in reading it, I'll put a link in the description.
In fairness, the website's from a while ago.
Oh yeah, but if RC Warriors friggin' website's still up and has a poll about who wins Series 5. This is viable to put on.
Who does win Series 5? I don't know.
I remember I went on the website and I did click hitting the disc for the pants because I was like, there's no. Also, this spell iBot 1 beta.
Bot 1 beta to iBot ita.
iBot it A. I guess it is a very strange name, granted, so I'm not too surprised I got that one wrong, because I still don't really get the point of that name. It's kind of sad that out of all these robots, iBot 1 beta was the best performing, which is...
I mean, it didn't qualify, never mind.
No, it did qualify by iBot 1 beta.
Was it in Series 7?
Yeah, because it fought Hellbent, Arachnia, and Mean Streak, and they got pitted.
Hellbent was good though.
Oh yeah, Hellbent was. It was eliminated anyway because Mean Streak was better than it somehow. So
yeah, Mean Streak.
Yeah, the
Mean Streak was better than it.
Yeah, the box with just two little. The box with some like tiny little spinners on it was better than it.
I feel like that hit a sore spot there. Oh dear.
Man, Scorpezoid. I know I barely talk about that.
I just saw Mean Streak, and now I completely understand.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel so sorry for your loss.
But I will give this team credit though, despite all the stuff that happened. I will say they've still got a very unique idea for the weapon. I like the idea of having these giant spinners on either side. These kind of like, just these giant rotating discs, and it even managed to cause damage. So. If you maybe reduce the size of them, because now you probably could do that a lot easier with like different motors now and the advances in technology. I could easily see this thing like having another go with the design. I'm not saying it would be really successful, but if they really want to go back and do it, not as much motivation nowadays apart from the live circuit, but go for it. It's different. I'll give it that. It's at least different.
For sure.
Even if it was unbalanced in its barrel. What are you gonna do? But yeah, that was Scorpezoid, and that was The Robots Never Were Episode 6. I don't know what happened in it, but, something happened. We talked about some robots, I guess.
We got sidetracked, but that's fine.
Yeah, getting sidetracked's good. So, I'm sorry for the gap of me from April, but I'll try and get a few uploads this month. Hopefully, I'll do another... my plan is to do this episode when it's uploaded, then do another Robo Tales with... someone. I've not decided who I'm going to do for that one next, and then we'll get back into the semi-finals for Series 5. Well, start the semi-finals for Series 5, which I know
he's lying to you, friends. He's going to make a time machine, go back to April, upload, so he can then spend the rest of May taking the month off.
Oh, that's perfect. Oh,
just
brilliant.
Pushes the month off forward every time, and then just goes back, uploads a video, and then you can just rest for another month.
God, if I could do that, I'd be doing that all the time. Don't you, Brian? Oh god, I'm a procrastinator sometimes. But
we all do it.
Yep.
Oh god, definitely.
Although with BattleBots coming up, Sam, you cannot afford to at this moment.
Oh, honestly, so like we've covered all of last season promptly. I think I think we did quite a good job last season. Covered it all within, every episode within a week of it coming out.
I have.
And then this year it's going to be double the length episodes. But not instead of it being 20 episodes this season, it's only 16. But we're still doing 32 hours worth of reviewing. You're like, good damn.
Yes, and this is the advantage of me not covering BattleBots. I have to deal with this in the future, not now.
NDA.
Yeah. Yes.
NDA.
Yeah. This is a problem for future James when he finally covers BattleBots. After he covers everything else first. But anyway. That was the episode of The Robots Never Were. Join me next time for RoboTales with insert guest here. There we go. I don't know who it is, but it will be someone.
I feel like I've been in so many of your podcasts that I'm just the placeholder image.
Yeah, who's going to be in the episode, I wonder? Ooh. Anyway, I am Jimjamatic, signing off.
I've been Dantomakaia 64.
And I'm the Dominus Ignis.
Yay!
Well, you got that eventually.
I was trying to think of a stupid joke I could make, but then I was like, nope.
I'll just put an image of you and say, this was the joke the entire time.
Yay! The joke was inside us the whole time.
Oh, bye folks.